Thank you very much. Is the mainstream media too willing to accept bombshell allegations from a new book leveled against the White House and the way they handled the whole Iraq war situation?
Here they go again. The latest criticism of the Bush administration could be found in Ron Suskind's book. It's called The Way of the World. But is the mainstream media too quick to accept these allegations as fact? Anything against the White House seems to fly.
Without challenging the author's claims, joining us, Rich Noyes, Director of Research at the Media Research Center. Good morning to you, Rich.
Morning, Gretchen. Morning, Brian.
So do you agree with that premise that the mainstream media just accepts these books when they come out and they can hardly wait to get the author on the air?
Well, they certainly do have a lot of promotion. I mean, this book, Ron Suskind, he was on the Today Show 2 days this week. He was on NBC Nightly News. He was on MSNBC. CNN's had him. You know, ABC has not actually covered this book, so they've given get a little bit of credit there. But he's making inflammatory charges about the Bush administration, essentially accusing them of criminality. He's called for impeachment. You had even one of the correspondents to CNN, a letter writer, basically suggested Bush should be executed for this. They put that on the air. I mean, he's really sort of picking a very, very noxious scab here. And instead of checking out his claims, finding out if they're true, they're putting him on the air to repeat them. Now, they're challenging him in the interviews, but this is the agenda of putting him on with an anti-Bush agenda. You've got three books now about Barack Obama that are not very flattering about him. Those authors have not been on these same programs to talk about their books. It's the anti-Bush books that get all the airtime.
And you think that Scott McClellan got a free ride, don't you?
He was a media star when he came out because he had a book that trashed the president he worked for. Ari Fleischer, his predecessor in that same job, had a book that came out a couple years earlier, and essentially the media yawned about that because it wasn't an anti-Bush book. They're not interested in what former Bush administration press secretaries have to say. They're interested in books that trash the president.
And is it only this president, or would the same thing happen, let's say, when President Clinton was in the White House?
Well, it was actually very interesting. George Stephanopoulos wrote a book that was very mild about President Clinton. It came out after the impeachment scandal was over, March of 1999. But you still had people like Katie Couric on the Today Show calling him a traitor for the way he came out there and spilled all the secrets. He's supposed to apparently take those secrets to the grave. Very different reception for George Stephanopoulos, and his book was really not that critical of the president.
No, he ended up with a network job, and I just think overall this other book by Suskind, CIA Director George Tenet, is in the center of it and was never interviewed about it.
No, and that's part of the problem. You have the CIA director basically saying the charges in this book are not true. You have two other officials of the CIA saying the charges are not true, and yet it's still getting all this airtime as if it is somehow this amazing expose. And, you know, maybe it is. It doesn't sound like one to me. But certainly I think they're attracted by the topic and the spin, not by the facts.
He's the Director of Research and Media Research at the Media Research Center. Rich Noyes, thanks.